Well, Joe, maybe you can help out here. I mean, what are the restraints? I mean, we're talking about health issues here as well. We talk about co-op. I mean, I know that the fruits, the vegetables have to be at a certain temperature. They have to be washed down. I know the meats do as well. So if we don't have somebody in there that knows all this information, I mean, the health department come in here and shut that building down overnight.
Sure. I mean, the health department is very concerned about those kinds of issues. And I don't know the restraints. I'm not personally in the grocery business, but I do know that you got to turn that produce and you have to turn that meat, or else you're getting complaints that, hey, your produce isn't looking too good and your meat is looking green. And so really, if you're going to have those perishable departments, it's the same thing with milk, eggs, cheese, bakery. If you're going to have those types of things, you really got to burn through that product so that you can keep it fresh.
See, my fear is, okay, that doesn't happen. We have 1 or 2 incidents. You're in a lawsuit. You went to co-op. I mean, these are the concerns that, and maybe I'm out of line here because I don't know this area. I'm only guessing that it has to come into play.
Well, the reality, most co-ops don't have a huge refrigerator section.
No.
I mean, they just don't. So that, again, doesn't meet the needs of the people who are looking for fresh food.
Exactly.
Right.
To just
Dry
go.
goods.
Yeah, bulk dry goods is usually what co-ops are offering. And they even have, huge bulk laundry soap. You bring your own bin, you weigh it, you fill it with the soap, you re-weigh it, and off you go. And so you're saving the planet, and you're also getting a deal because you're...
And we heard very, very loudly, I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one, because both of those were very loud meetings, that fresh food was paramount to the needs here in Highland Square. And just because there are probably a lot of people here who haven't heard the story, and some of you have, so forgive me. I just need to also point out, this was actually 2 years, your first board meeting here. So was that 2 years ago? 2 years ago, we had a meeting here, and Highland Square was, hot. The grocery store was a hot topic because Mr. Hurley was here for the first time, and it was a real long meeting. Very vocal, lots of stuff. A lot of things that everybody here has heard over and over again. And one of the people spoke up and said, "What we really need here is an Aldi's," and there were a lot of yeses, and there was some kind of nodding. By the time I left, and maybe this one won't be one of those meetings, but it took they throw us out here at 8, and at 9:15 I'm still in the parking lot talking to people. Somebody came up and said, "Look, whatever you do, the worst thing that we can have in this neighborhood is an Aldi's. It'll just take property values down, just anything but an Aldi's." So, I mean, really, you're right. People have such different, it's so personal how we cook, how we eat, what our needs are. And I think that kind of, this sort of comes back to what you said before about, the advertising and the publicity and stuff. I think those kinds of really strong conflicting messages about what is the perfect answer for a grocery store, I think has also been difficult when we talk to grocery operators and say, I don't know if what I put in there is going to be something that people are going to like.
Right. I mean, for the majority of the part, I've lived here for 15 years. I know most of the generation of kids ranging from 12 to almost 30. And what we're all saying is just give us a store with food. We just want food. I've worked at Walgreens for 2.5 years. I was in high school. That's how I got through my high school career. And the majority of people who were there buying for groceries, which was mostly malnutrition crap. Yeah. It's all canned bullshit, excuse me, and just chips and ice cream, and majority of those clientele were people who were on food stamps because that was their area. That's where they were forced to take their kids with their strollers in the area and buy food. They didn't want to buy food there, but that was their location. So for working there for 2 years, that's the majority of the clientele people who were buying food there. Other people who shop at Acme at your stores only came to Walgreens when they were in the area. They're like, I need milk because my kids need cereal. Those were the items that they were buying. So that 50% bullshit that guy said about they're getting what they need, try lowering it down to 15 to 25%. Secondly, I worked at the coffee shop with Jim over here for a couple of years too, and I've seen what an independent corporation does for the community. And it can work. It's a community effort clientele there, and that can work there as well. And when I first moved here with my mom, we tried having a co-op down the end of the street over by where the Dairy Mart is. And it was across the street from the Dairy Mart. And it was in an area where people didn't know what to expect from this little tiny store compared to a Dairy Mart where it was more convenient for them to get their cigarettes and alcohol and, once again, malnutrition bullshit.
Right.
So, I mean, in this area, in this location, you're going to get people like me and other people in this area who want food. Give us food. I mean, even if it's limited, that's fine. But give us something that's not offered in canned or boxes. That's all we want.
And really, this is tying in to the bigger issue I'm hearing here. So people are talking about crime. They're talking about wanting nutritious food. And we're talking about community. And we're talking about community policing, all these things. The highest producer of crime is poverty. And and we're on a brink here. I think we're on an edge. So we've got poverty going on south of Market big time. And we all know in high crime, poor neighborhoods, there's shit for groceries, right? So, and they can't get out of that neighborhood to get fresh produce. It's not that they don't want it, you know, and they're tired of going to food banks and getting the same old canned tuna and Spam. And so, yeah, I mean, the idea of community policing, or you know, you mentioning, well, you have to be aware of crime. Absolutely, you have to be aware of crime. But if you're going to attack crime, you've got to address poverty. They go hand in hand. You can't address crime at Highland Square. I mean, like you're saying, we go out, we walk, and we reclaim, and now we're in a recession. So people who might have been coming to that meeting more and giving up their time are working an extra job if they could find one. So they don't have the time to come to meeting. So, and it's all interconnected. And I agree. The longer we have craft for food, the more that we're, I think, you know, going to encourage the poverty perspective of this is what I can afford with my food stamps, and this is local to me because, you know, the Department of Job and Family Services cut off my bus pass that I used to get. And
I think, I think if I'm understanding what Adele said, the point that she was trying to make, and kind of what you guys are saying, is you just want fresh food.
yeah, that's
Aldi
at a
was something
reasonable
that, but hang
price.
on, but Aldi provides fresh food at a reasonable price, and I saw somebody over way on the other end of the room shaking her head vigorously, no Aldi. The problem is there are 20 different people in the room with 20 different ideas.
Yeah.
So Aldi provides fresh food. So, but if half of the neighborhood isn't going to support an Aldi, then it's not going to work.
Well, I mean,
So there's the problem.
What Aldi is going to put in is 6,400 square feet. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too small. Realistically, do you guys see Aldi's going into that small spot?
Well, that's one of the places they add.
I don't see that. Hell, I've never seen an Aldi's that small. So we're going to have to realistically talk about a community store of some sort. And if it's a store with food, people are going to go and shop and buy it. Like, you guys think that you're going to lose business from it, and you're not. Trust me, you're not going to do it. People are going to go there, and they're going to buy food. And putting an Aldi's or putting some other sort of corporation in there to try to get the picture out that there's a store here, you don't have to work that hard. It doesn't have to be that difficult.
It's actually would be a lot easier to get somebody like a corporation that already knows what they're doing
And has
to
the
make
capital.
the decision
And has the capital.
and has capital to say, okay, I'm going to do it. I think the harder idea is to start from scratch a locally owned business where you're going to need to raise capital and raise the expertise at the same time.